This is to measure the snow load over the roof. Sometimes nature is not following up the recommended minimum values of the snow load. And in that case, the building owner and the management are responsible for removing that snow. How to know how much snow is there? So this Ruukki roof sensor measures from the load-bearing sheets how much there is extra load on the roof. So Ruukki Construction product business at glance is shown in here. And we have two business units, and one is roofing business, and the other one that I'm representing here is the building envelopes. And main brands are Ruukki and Plania. Here are the main market area in the map and the manufacturing sites that the Ruukki Construction has. So we serve customers in many fields and cooperate with several stakeholders. In roofing side, there is this type of main products that there's a roofing sheets, material for tinsmith roofing. This RVS is for rainwater systems, and then there's a roof safety products and different types of flashings for finalize the roofs. And these are mainly for single-family houses. So this is a business for customers, multi-family houses, and also for commercial buildings. Then we have this building envelope side. We have products like this, like sandwich panels for walls and for roofs too, load-bearing sheets for roofs, design profiles and facades, for example, also solar facade. These are products for like logistics centers, commercial, industrial and office buildings, sports halls and stadiums. So this is single family houses or renovation projects, more or less. I'm actually sitting in a house like this at the moment. It has been built up most likely 120 years ago. Nowadays it has a steel roof, and so it's based on wooden logs, and it was very important that time has this type of recycling going on. The wooden logs were used to the other building before this building. Next thing is that newer ones, single family houses, examples, they are different in different countries and different tastes. And so roofs for commercial buildings, examples of this, there's a tinsmith roofs and ready-made roof plates and so on. Then we go to the building envelope side, and here's a facade that is this type of patina type without plastic paints or coats on there. So the material is sort of natural. There's examples of public buildings, and here's also the patina panel or patina facade showed in here, and these are bigger buildings and in many forms and needs. This examples of sports halls and stadiums, and our products are there. Examples of commercial buildings like shopping malls and like. Then examples of logistics centers and warehouses. These buildings can be quite large. And for example, here you can see different colorful sandwich panels used, and there's a load-bearing sheets on the roofs forming this place. Then there's examples of industrial buildings where our products are also used. So we are talking about steel, how we achieve carbon neutral building products. So steel is 100% recyclable, and it's most recycled material in the world. I think it is at the moment it is about 95% of the steel is recycled already. So the material after we have pushed energy in it, it is recycled and can be used over and over again. So we manufacture light and long-lasting products with guarantees up to 50 years. In a harsh environment, if the environment is less harsh, it will last longer. Then the carbon neutrality comes also from energy savings of the building. So Ruukki building envelope solution provide up to 30% of energy savings, like eye tightness packages and so on. And then the next big thing is that the first building products based on fossil-free steel is quite close. It's 2026, the design. And this is quite a new thing. It's first pilot plant in our mother company has produced in this autumn the first fossil-free steel. And you can find more information looking about the hybrid project. The reduction of the emissions will be huge. It will mark a lot. Reduction only in Finland. In Sweden, it's 25% estimated. In Finland, it means 7% of CO2 emissions taking out. Okay, now we are talking about intelligence in building, and our thing is first to look more about the component in intelligence, this type of passive things. So our products are light and long-lasting, reusable and recyclable products. There's lots of information included testing, suitability for the usage, material traceability, etc. Also the intelligence in operation, so there is optimized logistics close to the customers. The company is the safest company in the field and the most engaged employees in the industry, and also the customers are satisfied. We are reducing waste and scrap in our operations, and we try for reduction of fossil fuel. So the sustainability is a business model. It's not this type of we look in the future, and we see that as a way and as a business model. So building envelope intelligence is something that is more than a building component. So it's a design of whole, and it gives more than a single product can achieve. And the components are enablers for this building envelope intelligence. Today we have a digital helpers and information for design, and our first customers, for example, like My Ruukki services. And we have some digital helpers development for building usage style. And those are based on our product knowledge and material used. So one interesting part of here is, if we think back 120 years ago, is that Ruukki building components are light in weight and easy to assembly and disassemble. And sometimes the need and purpose for building may change, or the need ends before building technical lifetime ends. So reusing material and components instead of recycling can reduce carbon footprint considerably for the new operations. By fully realizing this hidden value of building envelope and opportunity, there's a need to identify the parts and have a knowledge of usage history and conditions. It's the same as with the used car business. The value depends on model, quality records, body number, service history, and mileage records. If some information is missing, the used car market value will drop around its material content and recycling value. So here is a clear opportunity for digital information and monitoring efforts to make a difference and have a payback in the long term. So here Ruukki's process and digital services today. And there is an emphasis on early life cycle of the building. So the capital phase, design, tendering and ordering phase, we use a lot of information and digital information. And on the construction phase, we are using this type of instructions and information to make it as smooth as possible, like a delivery process and instructions on how to build the building and so on. After that, there is in commissioning phase, how the building is really going to work there. There's a warranty period of 10 years. And this is for design and our manufacturing defects or that type of things. So our sort of responsible ends in here. So the warranty period is quite long, but still, hopefully the buildings are lasting more than 10 years. So then there could be accidents or need to renewal or retrofit the building. Maybe the building is sold and it needs new looking facade or something like that. I have thought about this life cycle, and most likely the unique product ID is likely a method to deliver more value from design phase, from the early phase to the later usage phase. And we have lots of different information generated from this phase. So there's a dimensioning software, simulations like optimized energy simulations, BIM models, manufacturing information, delivery and logistics information, assembly instructions, and so on and so on. Some of them are in My Ruukki services. So data from ready-made buildings, so local weather and building automation systems are main sources, of course, and additional measurements are added if needed. From Ruukki side, there's available for load-bearing roofs, Ruukki roof sensor. And this is to measure the snow load over the roof. Sometimes nature is not following up the recommended minimum values of the snow load. And in that case, the building owner and the management are responsible for removing that snow. How to know how much snow is there? So this Ruukki roof sensor measures from the load-bearing sheets how much there is extra load on the roof. So this is like a snow weighting device. It is based on the material knowledge how the roof is operating and then the measurement. You don't need to climb on the roof to know how much weight is there. This is not available, but from our research, this is an active RFID asset tracking and microlocation, and that can be used for long-term building monitoring. We can detect water leakage, intrusion services like security, for example, if needed. It can be used for automated ID because it's active, following asset arrival, inventory location, for example, when needed in a building site. And if there's an investment on that, then we can use that for contact-free monitoring method for long-term as large areas. Leaks, intrusion, detection, etc. Basic operation is there. For that is that the short radio message is sent and it's bouncing inside the structure through the insulation materials and so on. It is received from the other transceivers in structure, and from the impulse response of this coded signal is analyzed and compared if there's any changes. So if there's a water leakage, we can detect the water or any other change in the reflection or changes in steel structure or coating. This is most efficient when integrated to the new product, acting as an identification of the product. It is hard to counterfeit, for example, if it's embedded and in the product. Of course, this can be post-assembled to buildings as a separate product, but the market sector would be then some different. Also, much less devices are needed if used as a separate product. We don't have this at the market yet. I show you example of this in building walls, facades. I haven't enough time to wait to water leakage, so I needed to make it myself. And here is the point. I injected some water inside the wall, and I could immediately detect the water leakage. This analytics can be adjusted. What you really want to detect? Is it building condition? You don't need to measure so frequently, maybe even once a week is enough. If you want to have it as an intrusion detector, then you need to have it in measurement in every 5 seconds, for example. We encountered in a task that you can build whatever like interfaces you need, but for general availability of digital twin, there's a big question how to automate the creation of digital twin. from the information silos and how to update it. So this would be a good thing, and we are going towards there, but the construction companies are not quite ready for this yet. As a conclusion, from research and development point, is that we have lots of data today. Our investments and efforts are mainly made to fulfill our first customer process and interest, of course. There's a lot of data that can be used further away in building lifetime. But generally, the demanded data and handover is just a snapshot of delivered and assembled products. And our first customer interest can be very much shorter than a product warranty time or building lifetime. So the responsibility cycle against the building life cycle, there's a big time difference in here. Ruukki sees some interest of our own and value for the data for monitoring building usage time, like communication through intelligent products with future building owners and managers that are likely not our first buying customers. If there's a renovation needs, spare parts, etc. And this would save time and improve the communication and services and our reaction time on those. For research and development, this would be a nice product feedback channels, following up how they are doing in a real environment in long term, and maybe getting out the value of the reuse instead of recycling and saving further resources. Maybe there's a separate already used components as this 120 years house seems to have. There's a knowledge and means to reach beyond this present expectation. So additional information can be used in long building usage time, like a roof sensor and the presented example invention. And it seems that the Ruukki can provide many solutions, but as it seems that technology is not the problem, and more like business model is more difficult than technology. So there is a need for long-term cooperations, integrations, and players to utilize data for full building life cycle. And that's why we contacted BaseN in the first place, already in the research and study phase.
How does the technology and digitalization help you creating carbon neutral building products?
So main thing is that doing our operations as carbon neutral as possible. This is something that everyone can do. And then the other thing is that we optimize the building products, like energy usage of the building and that type of thing. These are the services and extra parts that you can order, and there's a guarantee on that. For example, eye tightness of the building envelope. And then the third big thing that is coming is that using the CO2-free steel in our products.
How much does your customer get to know about the raw materials used in the roof or envelope itself?
Our customers are very well aware. Our customers are building many times building constructors and and they are looking for different manufacturers, and they are selecting what is most suitable for them. That is our first customers many times, and selection is coming from there. So all the building materials in the world are there on the line, and selected by our first customers. So they know that really well.
How did you reach the reduced waste?
Okay, the reduced waste is that we are thinking about our operations, that what we really do and what we really are doing, how we produce the things, what is the waste is in that productions, can the side materials, can they be used, and so on, how to reduce this type of production waste. That is every time when there's a new product, these things have been sort of designed and decided already there. Then how to use this waste material. Is there any thing that can be used as a side material? So that is already created in around the steel.
Or what was kind of the thing that has created you as to be the safest company to work for in that, shall I say, dangerous looking industry as the steel manufacturing is?
We are ourselves not using this on a daily basis, this location control or micro location there, even it would help. This is coming from many years intensive. It's a company-wide strategy. Our all meetings even start with safety issues, and there's this type of internal processes that it is easy to show, and it is placed in every workers and employees. It is a real task there. We don't start anything if there is unsure of the safety.
Are you using the BaseN platform, and what brought you to select the BaseN platform? Why didn't you take something else instead?
In research space, I was looking for different type of platforms, and thought from many sides of this, and it seems that the advantage were the scalability of the platform at that time, and also the ownership of the data. So the security of the data was one thing, that who owns. We need to know that the data is in a safe place, and the owner will have that, and no one else if needed.
Is the digitalization thinking easily adapted on the construction industry? Is your experience, what is your experience and opinion about that?
Yeah, okay, my personal opinion is that it is not very easily adapted. It's a part of maybe long story history of the construction companies, how they have been working, and so this is sort of constant efforts doing that. You need to first, it seems that you need to first show that this is really working. This is need for other companies. You can have efforts. You can ease your workload using digitalization, and and so. But it seems that it will change slowly as it has to be proved somehow first.
BaseN operates and develops the full stack next generation digital twin platform. The platform is provided for 20 years today from 13 data centers for public. And the big differentiator, one thing in comparison to the others, we are quite easy to go with you for an on-premises implementation, because to the large telecom operators like Telenor, Deutsche Telekom, and some governmental bodies, we anyway provide the on-premises implementations of the solutions. The privacy of the data is well caretaken. As well, Erkki mentioned the key point, scalability of the platform, redundancy of the system for the cases. There was a question about, do you control the people working with the RFIDs? Actually, BaseN does that. And the key point behind is that when making such solutions, they must be available 24 hours a day, 365 days every year, every minute, with short redundancy. Additionally, we are not only doing that with the good availability, but we as well have near real-time implementations, which are, just like Erkki mentioned, extremely important if, as example, a burglar is coming through the wall, the security company, police must get immediately the alarm that something very obvious, unobvious is happening. The BaseN platform itself is catching, storing, processing, and analyzing, visualizing, controlling vast volumes of the things. It can be anything from a telecom operator information from the routers, from the servers or something. It can be the rotor sail giving power to the big ship for going with less fuel further on through the sea. And it can be a smart living solution, smart home solution. It can be smart building or a smart city solution. Idea behind this everything is that BaseN is a platform, and it's possible to build any kind of applications on top of that. And these are just examples of those what we do, that we can very quickly launch the new application. It is not months and months of working to make the minimum viable product available to the marketplace, but it is some days of work to see, is this what you have planned, the thing what we have now done, and how then you can concentrate, instead of to tackle the technical issues, to concentrate on your business model and thinking about how you can choose several different stakeholders to handle the data on different layers. And one of the important items, as we are a true any vendor solution, it means that when the life cycles and the generations of the products are changing, then we can provide a solution that works for long times, meaning tens of years. The simple solutions on the construction business in the start was the case of the Nordic construction company Skanska, together with ABB and Fortum, to build a smart house. Elements like the solar panels on the roof, electricity recollecting elevators, garage from where the tenant can come into the building, and just by having a tag on the pocket, the elevator is bringing you into the right floor, and then it is giving you the information about how much I am using the energy resources at the moment, how much does our building create the energy through the sun and energy recollecting heat ventilation systems, and so on. That developed from the first case to, as example, Volker Wessels, that has an integrator company, HomeEye, in the Netherlands, for building thousands of the houses that have the similar kind of mini solution. The Dutch government is trying to get the people out from using gas as the heating method because it is not very carbon neutral. Instead, they are recommending to have the solar panels on the roof, having the air to water pumps for creating the heating energy. What BaseN did is that we have created for those thousands of houses the implementation so that the house owners have the view to see that their house is doing well. For the maintenance company, we are providing the view that from technical perspective, all those elements in the building are working nicely. For the governmental body, we can give a statement that in general, the Volker Wessels house is a zero energy building. And for Volker Wessels themselves, we are providing tools for further developing the environment what they are working at. So this is a short and basic story about BaseN creating the item of the digital twin. Going to Erkki's presentation, there was the one comment of the spine. And this is precisely the thing, creating the digital twin to the next level, which means that it has the autonomous operations, it has the advanced features, it has artificial intelligence is perhaps too much for saying because it has come to the marketplace so many times, but I say strong machine learning with a huge capacity of processing the things on the BaseN platform. That is the key point for making the BaseN platform as the winning tool for fast deploying the solutions like the Ruukki environment is, or many of the other industrial environments what we have built.